Welcome back to the farm. Today we're working on a set of Allis Chalmers disc harrows. They're brought in today. Has a bad bearing on that side, outer bearing, and the disc coming loose in the nut. So we got to replace the bearing. Those are special Ballpack bearings that Allis Chalmers used. We're going to retrofit a couple of standard Harrow bearings into the housing. Let's go take a look. Well, we disassembled the bearing housing that clamps these in. This is what the Ballpack bearing is. It's supposed to have rubber seals around the outside of the bearing, and this is just frozen right up. Both sides are like that. Then there's supposed to be inside the center race, it's supposed to be a bushing that's hex shape, because that's a hex shaft on that harrows there. You see it kind of wore down pretty good on one side after slopping around after the center locked up on the bearings. This is another one off of another set we have out back. It has a round shaft. And this is a Ballpack also, and it's a very strange design. And that's frozen up too. So I'll show you what we're gonna put in place of these, as simple as possible, without doing a lot of machine work. So in place of the old Ballpack bearings, I'm going to be placing these in the housing clamps. These are just standard bearings for disc harrows, and they have the same outside diameter as the old Ballpack bearing housings here. So they'll just clamp right in. One thing I had to do was I had to order 1 1/8 inch shaft because the hex shape on the harrows from point to point is 1 1/8. Now the flat sides of the hex are 1 inch, so I'll put some shims on either side so that it's catching the flat, and it'll spin the center of the bearing. And these are a little, putting them both together up against each other so that they when you tighten the nut there, they press together nice and tight. They are a little narrower. What I'll have to do is make a spacer in between the centers to make up the same size of the old housing of the Ballpack bearing. These should clamp right in the bracket that holds the bearings perfectly. Then we'll put it back together and it'll be ready to go. Here's the new bearings installed in the bracket. I put a spacer in between them to make up the size difference, and I put some shims on either side of the hex shape so that the bearing would lock on nice and tight onto the shaft. This is the easiest way to change out the old Ballpack bearings. It's just to put these standard Harrow bearings in. I had to cut down the outside spacer a little more because the center sticks out farther on these than the old Ballpack bearings. So I'll put the new disc on, one that's not all bent up, nice and straight now. Put the spacer on the disc and put the nut and the lock washer back on, and this should be ready for the field. Thanks for watching. More videos on the way.